Hi, I'm Sarah from the upcoming. Real pleasure to be able to speak to you today. Maybe just kick off with a brief introduction to this incredible and very unique documentary, Electric Malady. For people who don't know anything about it, what can they expect?
Really quite well, for me it's a documentary about love and the kind of resistance of a family. But it also talks about this illness called electrosensitivity, which is a hidden disability that makes the sufferer become hypersensitive to electromagnetic fields. Can't say that today. But it's about the journey of a family going through that process of dealing with that condition.
And maybe you could talk a little bit about the genesis of this project, from a filmmaker perspective, and your kind of personal connection to the story and why you decided to make the documentary.
So my mum developed electrosensitivity when I was 8 years old, and because of that, I grew up with quite limited kind of exposure to electricity or exposure. We had candles instead of lamps and oil lamps, and we kind of rewired the whole house to support my mum, basically. And I was getting to the age that she was when she developed electrosensitivity. So I started thinking a lot about this, and then decided to make a film about it. But then it was supposed to be about my mother and like a sort of child's perspective of an illness like this. And then I put an ad out in a magazine that goes out to electrosensitives in Sweden, and got so much response. And then one of those people was William's dad, who and we spoke a few times on the phone, and then went over to see them in Sweden.
And something that really struck me about watching it is, how do we not know more about it? And the fact that it's not there's not been that much research into it, there's not much recognition of it in the science community yet. Just in Sweden alone, over 300,000 people affected by it, and of course, that figure even bigger worldwide. So, is it kind of, I think for a lot of people going into this and watching this, that's going to be the first thing that's going to stand out, is how we don't know more about it and why a documentary like this might be so important to sort of raise awareness about
it. Well, I think if you look into the research, there's like two sides of the story. It's very disputed, this illness. But there is research about it. But it's like it goes both ways, and there's obviously lots of like monetary interest as well. But sorry, can you just repeat the question? I got sidetracked there.
Just the importance of a documentary like this, and I guess raising awareness about something that isn't that widely known about.
William is a really extreme case. So, there are electrosensitives, a quite small amount of people who are as ill as him. But, then, electrosensitivity is like a series of symptoms, which is almost a spectrum. And then, it goes all the way from getting a headache if you speak to your mobile phone for too long, or, you might sleep better if you turn the Wi-Fi off at night. So I think there are a lot of people who might have these symptoms, but they don't connect it to electrosensitivity necessarily. But I'm hoping like some of these people live insanely extreme lives, living in their cars, trying to escape the masts, which with radiation that just becomes stronger and stronger. So I really hope that this film will be an important part of that discussion. However, I made the decision not to make it a scientific film because I wanted to show what it's like for a family to go through this. And, my experience was very much from that point of view. It's like, whether people believe this is real or not, people are really suffering from this. And that's what I wanted to show.
And as you said, William's case is very extreme. So what was the experience like of, I guess, going on this journey with him, you know, and guess gaining his trust, and to be able to go to where he's living and spend time with him and film him and also film his family. That must have been quite an experience for you as an individual, as well as, the challenges of being a filmmaker in that position.
Yeah, I mean, it was really hard film to make. Partly because we had to adapt our whole filmmaking process. We did a lot of testing with equipment, the type of equipment we could use, and worked out that we could use a combination of small DSLR cameras, but really keeping our distance. And also, William, it gets really dark sometimes, the film. And it's a 10-year journey, and it goes, even though William wasn't there, like, is not there now, like, he's in a very positive place. Like, the process was hard from a personal point of view as well, because we're dealing with topics like suicide, and which is really hard, like, as a filmmaker as well, to approach, because I had to seek counsel as well, because it was really, really depressing sometimes. So yeah, it was a struggle also financially, I have to say. Like, it was really a hard film to fund. It's, of course, about an illness that is very disputed or controversial, and people were very concerned that you wouldn't be able to connect with this character because his face is completely covered in blankets. So yeah, quite a difficult journey. But also I got to know this, like, incredible character and his family. So and now I speak to William because he now has a phone that works for him, and we speak once a week, and we have a really nice relationship as well, and as well with his family.
And I think, in terms of what people can take away from watching it, I think a lot of the things you've mentioned do really come across, because although there are some really sad moments and difficult moments to watch, seeing the dedication of his family and coming along when it's his birthday, and the effort they put in and the care that they take, are actually really beautiful moments. And then seeing also, like, the footage you have that he's shot himself, that's kind of, they're in contrast. And so you realize that life is about finding those small joys, whatever your circumstance, even if you're not someone suffering from this particular illness. So there's kind of some universal messages in there that, family and finding the small joys in life are really important.
Yeah, and also about, like, what loneliness does to you, and isolation, and not being believed, when you're struggling with so many other things. So yeah, but I feel like, I've had loads of contact with people who've got other invisible illnesses, who've really connected with the film, which is really nice to hear.
And I was going to ask that as my next question, in terms of the response to the film. Has that, I guess when you're trying to get something funny, when you're in the midst of making something, you don't know how it's going to land, and seeing how much it's connected to people and recognition that it's getting, in terms of awards, what does that mean to you? And it must be quite vindicating for your efforts and for William's story.
Yes, I mean, it's incredible, and it's so lovely, because I guess always when you're showing your film for the first time, you're just worried about what people were going to think, and you're so protective of your character. And I don't know, I was just really worried how he was going to come across because of how he looks. But yeah, people are real, especially in the UK, are really connecting with the story and with William and his way of thinking about life, and it's incredible. Especially after, when a project takes so long and you are in this bubble, and we were really struggling to finance the film. Yeah, I think vindicating is the right word to use, because yeah, we were right. Like you can connect with this character, and it's a universal story.
Mm.
It's amazing. And hopefully, my next film won't take 10 years to fund.
Yeah. And you said that William's in a more positive place now. I mean, has he been able to watch the film, or his family watch the film? And what's the aspect from that angle been like?
So he can't watch a film because he can't use electrical equipment like that. But he does have, and as you see in the film, like he's got this battery-driven CD player that he can play covered in this tin to protect him from the radiation that comes out of it. So I exported the CD for him. So he's listened to the film, and I've sent him this audio description of what happens in the film. But they're all very happy. His family rewatched the film yesterday, because they're going to watch the BAFTAs, and they wanted to watch the film again. And of course, that was first time they watched it. It was a really hard watch for them, and we had to have, I had to prepare them before that. Your son is going to talk about suicide, but he's not in that place anymore, and you have to be aware of it. It's going to be quite hard to watch. But they just texted today to say that it's a fantastic film. We really, we're so grateful that you made this film. So yeah, they like it. And also William, he's working on his book. He's got a partner now, and that he met, and he's still physically kind of in the same position, but he's mentally very strong and really positive, which is incredible.
That's great to hear. I think that's my time up, but can you quickly tell us if you do have an idea for your next film? You're saying maybe not a 10-year journey to make the next one, but maybe you've got something simmering already.
I do. It's a baby that though I've been researching it for 10 years, I'm not really ready to put it out into the world just yet, but I've got a project, and that hopefully soon I'll be able to talk about it publicly.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with me, and really can't wait for everyone to have the opportunity to see this amazing film and connect with William's story. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.